And I kind of met Thomas Redmond through local news media and started following him on Facebook and found his story quite intriguing. And so I became, like 2,500 other people, became Facebook friends with Thomas. But Thomas is a homeless awareness instructor, and he's going to give us a presentation on how do we solve homelessness, the empathetic approach. Thomas is an educator who specializes in teaching intensive reading. On July 4th, 2014, he changed the path of his life forever when he decided to go voluntarily homeless on the streets of Orlando for 30 days as a summer reading program for his students. So Thomas is here today to share his story with us. Tom.
First of all, I'd like to say this is quite an opportunity for me. I'd like to thank everybody that was involved in having me come today. I consider it an honor. I'm an infant in the homelessness business, and I've learned so much over the last 2 days. I thought the military was bad about acronyms, half the conversations. I did not understand because of the acronyms, but I did learn a lot. Now, we might have some technical issues here. Maybe not. Okay, I'm going to begin with this video. It's going to say quick run, not run. Okay. I apologize, I didn't get to practice first. We're going to have to go without the video. I can tell this is going to be a successful speech already. Well, it started off with me giving me red, I'm sitting here, my dinner's put in front of me. I couldn't even hardly eat it because I was afraid I'd have it all over the front of me by the time this is over. So why am I here today? I'll tell you why I'm here today. I was a teacher that taught at 97% free reduced lunch school. I would go for Saturday visits, and these kids did not have windows in their trailer. Their mom and dad hadn't been home for days. Their 16-year-old sibling would have 2 or 3 children of their own. So my challenge as a reading instructor, by the way, my kids, they kicked butt this year. They gained 8 points on FCAT. Which I'm proud to say is the highest gain since FCAT started there at that school in reading. So I had to find a way to keep them entertained and engaged. I couldn't tell them, go read a book. They're worried about where their meal's going to come from. They're worried about is mom and dad going to come home. They're worried about are they even going to get beat that night. How do I do that? Well, my wife is the agency relations coordinator at Second Harvest Food Bank, and she runs all the food pantries in the area. So for the last 2 years, since her and I met, I've been helping feed homeless camps with my wife. It's our personal ministry, and I mean that as a food ministry, not a religious ministry. So I thought, hey, I'll go homeless. I'll teach my kids empathy, and I'll keep them reading, because who doesn't want to see their teacher with a "We'll work for food" sign? Or digging in a dumpster, right? So, just so you know, and this is only so you can frame what I say, I was in the Navy for 23 years. I was enlisted. I became an officer. And my last job, I was on the RAS Truman, nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, and I was the repair officer / auxiliaries officer, and owned all the equipment except for the nuclear power plant itself, maintenance-wise. The reason that I tell you all of these things is so you understand where I'm coming from, who I am. Let's get some class rules out of the way. I was going to say no cell phones, but you had lunch, so you won't be playing on your cell phone. By the way, I was voted in the yearbook last year at my school as the teacher most likely to find you with your cell phone. This experience changed my life forever. It changed my life and what I thought of homelessness, and I thought I was an educated guy. Navy officer, worked at many big companies, was the CEO of my own company. So I thought I was educated. I didn't know a thing. Not a thing. Today, I might range between an evangelical preacher and a crying grandma. The reason is, when I left, I didn't know what I was buying into. I thought I had some idea of what it was like to be homeless. The truth is, it made being at war in the military look like a picnic. I used to run the battle plans in Damage Control Central for an aircraft carrier with the captain over my shoulder. That wasn't even pressure. I'll do that for 3 days before I'll be homeless for an hour. Why? The biggest problem with homelessness is how the general public views the homeless. They don't know the truth. I didn't know the truth. My journey made me realize that my misconceptions and my stereotypes, as sharp as I am, were wrong. What's the general public's like? Well, you know the answer to that because you are the most empathetic people for the homeless that exist. You know the problem with public awareness. So I'm not a solutions guy. I'm not going to tell you housing first is the best thing, like it is personally.
Better.
I'm not here. I'm too much of a baby. I'm an infant in this field. Every day I read 15, 18, 20 hours a day about this, and I cannot believe how complex it is. Here's what I do know. As a society, we must stop viewing the homeless as less. There's no less. No less. Shouldn't be diminished. They shouldn't be marginalized. They shouldn't be secondary. They shouldn't be subordinate, invisible. They're people. No matter what their problems, they need empathy. My experience with the homeless system. Now, before I get started, I am not here to throw anybody under the bus because a lot of the people whose shelters I stayed in are sitting in this room. I was homeless in Orlando for 30 days. So this is not about how bad the shelters are. I got to be honest with you, I was angry leaving the shelters. All of them I stayed in. That's the truth. Is it because the people there aren't empathetic and don't care? No. Everybody stand up right now. Stand up! Okay, you see how effective that was? That's the prescriptive method to helping the homeless. You can't make somebody do something. You can't have a tough love approach without love. It cannot be prescriptive because you can't make anybody do anything. Come out of homelessness, wipe their own nose. I asked for medical care. I was told to call 911. That's right. This is a big challenge for me today because usually I address people that don't understand homeless. Most of the people in this room know homelessness better than I ever will. A lot of them have been homeless, so they know the homeless experience much better than my silly 30 days. So what's my job today? To re-energize you like the day you started in this business. To make you remember how important empathy is to the people that you serve. I got to tell you, getting food was pretty easy in Orlando. It's not that way everywhere. There's a lot of organizations that are out there helping the homeless. The authorities were a big problem for me. I had a teaching license. I didn't want to get arrested and lose my teaching license. To be illegal to sleep is ridiculous. If you cannot imagine how much stress I went through every night just over that one little thing, trying to find a safe place to sleep. So my experience with the homeless system was not good by any means, shape, or form. There were some good experiences in there, but the majority of them weren't good. Is that because the people in this room aren't doing their job? Heck no! Because we've lost sight of what's important. That's the people part of our business. Some of us. Some of us are more energized than I ever will be. But I want to instill that fire back in you. Because what's important? I think this is how we solve homelessness. And I am not a solutions guy. I'm saying this because if we get true public awareness of homelessness, and we get empathy from and towards all members of our community, and we assist society once they make that decision. If they get empathy, they're going to make a decision to do something. If we support them, and then we assist them on taking actions on those decisions, there's your solution. Everybody's going to have a house. We wouldn't need the McKinley-Vento Act. All those people would be out of work because we wouldn't need any homeless children. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Now, those people do a great job, so don't think that I'm saying anything other than that. Everybody in this room has my complete and utmost respect for what you do and deal with every day. I want you to remember, and I know all of you guys know this already, homelessness is not whether you have a home or not. It's how you're treated every day. It's how you're demeaned by that drunk 22-year-old that walks by you and tells you to get a job and calls you names. That when you walk up to the shelter or to go someplace and get assistance, clothes, or, I'm sorry, we can't help you. We only give food to people who aren't homeless because you need to eat in the food line. When you're demeaned all day, when you're scared all the time. I don't know if any of you guys know Orlando, but one of the shelters, well actually two of them, are in the central part, the worst part of Orlando. One of the nights I had a job to go clean up after the bars. Do you have any idea what it's like for a white person to walk through the worst part of Paramore at midnight? You want to talk about fear? Follow me down there one night. So you go from place to place, you start doubting yourself, you have a lack of motivation, you're helpless and hopeless. What do you need more than another meal or a toothbrush? A hug. Somebody to ask you, how are you? To treat you like a human. You need that a million times more. I would go to food shares. Nobody knew I wasn't homeless at this time. I watched people protect their kids from me. They're there to help me. They're good people. They're just uneducated. So by the time this 30 days was over, I would say anybody that knew me before it started, I'm that crazy teacher that your kids come home and tell you about. Mr. Redmond was standing on the desk today. Mr. Redmond scooted his butt across the floor like a dog today. Whatever it takes to keep the kids engaged, I'm that guy. In case you can't tell, I'm passionate about what I do. I was helpless and hopeless. And I knew I had an end. Imagine if you didn't know you had an end, how you would feel. The tough love treatment has to have more love than tough, no matter what you're doing. That's with your children. That's if you're a teacher. And I'm glad to see there's a lot of educators here today. I have to tell you, I did not have any idea what I was in for. I will never go present anywhere without attending, I'll tell you that. Because I wouldn't even know who my audience was. And being up there with all those educators today was pretty awesome. So what can you do? I am not saying you're not doing your job. I am not saying that you've done anything wrong. But if you're in leadership for the homeless, then you better make sure every employee you have is an empathetic person. I don't care how many years they've been there. Do you know at a shelter, I was told, you know what, if your mom had taught you more manners, you would be homeless. Do you know what that feels like as a 53-year-old man? You know how angry that makes you? One provider does that. You know how long it takes you to get that person back? So make sure the climate of your outreach is empathetic. And I know in today's days of funding and financial crises, the last thing you got money for is a public service campaign. But if you are not telling the members of the public what it's really like to be homeless, and you don't have a good message going out, and you're one of the coalitions or one of the service providers, you're missing the boat. Because public empathy is number one. This is a grassroots movement that you guys have been working on for years, long before I ever even thought about this. But what's not happening is the grassroots part. Spend the money to educate the public. That will make the politicians do the right thing. You want power against HUD or what? I hate to use that example because I don't know. You get it. I don't even know what the acronym means. But if you want power, if the public cares what they do, they won't make stupid decisions because they have to pay for it. Spend that money. That's my recommendation. And last, I know this is another funding issue. Decompression time. I came home after 30 days, and my wife will tell you I was a screaming lunatic. Of course, I was before I left too, but that was what I was. It took me, I'll just tell you, after being on the streets for 30 days, guess what I did the morning I woke up after being home? I got in the car at 6 o'clock in the morning, was back in town. Been there every day since. If I'm not attending a city council meeting or giving a speech like this, that's all I've done. I haven't gone back to teaching. My wife and I just moved from a beautiful home to a really crappy place. Because that's what we can afford right now without me working. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm telling you how invested I am. Getting ready to go homeless again for 30 more days, in case you haven't heard that. In a national market. To try to raise national awareness. I have Florida's attention. There were many stories done about me. We have increased between me and Andre Bailey and the Rethink Homelessness campaign and the new men's center opening in Orlando. We have a lot of eyes on us, and I think nobody would argue that we've made a lot of progress in the last 60 days, awareness-wise. So I'm asking you, please, I know it's a funding problem, and that's why we can't do it, but give these people some time to decompress in your shelter before you expect anything from them. Anything. Even go to a meeting. You don't know how hard it is. Here's the important figures. These people. Billy Bob, Johnny, Sally. Not money. These are the figures that are important. Every one of these people are homeless for a reason. And because you're in the business, you know the reasons are as varied as the people are. I don't want to see the middle stick figure ever again. That's my goal. Ever. I want, when somebody makes a stupid decision, we made some in Orlando, and I'm going to highlight two of them before I finish. We painted some blue boxes, and it was told to the public it was a way to help the homeless so they could panhandle. Hey, look, we're going to give the homeless a place to panhandle. Well, there's 23 boxes. They're all in the sun. You're not allowed to sit. You must stand. You're not allowed to face traffic in any way with your sign. Bottom line is, you've got to stand in a blue box in the sun, face the wall, and can only talk to the people that walk between you and the blue box. How much money you make? None. They put donation station meters initially to help raise awareness and raise money. Well, it cost $2,000 to put them in. We raised $2,040 since 2010, and we paid a guy $19, or excuse the figure, maybe $13 an hour for the last 4 years to collect it. Did we make any money for the homeless? Now, I made videos where I'm standing like this on the meter, asking the public as they walk by, hey, have you heard about those homeless meters? No, I've never seen one. I'm leaning on one. That's how much awareness they're raising. What? Those decisions were made in good faith. They were. But what did they really turn out to be? And who's been looking at the boxes since 2010 or asking questions? The reason is no public empathy. Last, and I'm done. I think I'm already over time, aren't I? I have 1 minute. Wow, I did good. I want to talk about one thing, and I apologize. I might take more than 1 minute. I want to talk about this Twitter hashtag. This is not my hashtag. This is yours. This says teamaok. What does AOK stand for? Acts of kindness. It also means homeless people are okay. I apologize, but I just got these in. I have trademarked a new charity ribbon, or I'm in the process of. It's 3 colors. It's purple for homelessness, orange for hunger, and yellow for veterans. And the ribbon means end homelessness now. There's already a purple homeless ribbon out there. This is an end homelessness now ribbon. This means, not you're affiliated with me, just if you want to end homelessness now. And if you start using this Twitter hashtag and people start seeing it trending, it might make a difference. So if you believe homeless people are A-OK and that they need acts of kindness, I'd be happy to give you some of these. Thank you very much.
I don't use Twitter, so you can use whatever you want.
I don't know. Am I supposed to do something? Oh.
I think you're good. I'll take it back then. Okay, so yes. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for sharing your story and your insights. We really do appreciate it. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Andre Bailey and Ryan Mocher to discuss increasing community awareness to end homelessness. You've all met Ryan before. Andre is the CEO of the Central Florida Commission on Homelessness. And that organization is working with the community to develop strategies to end homelessness here in Central Florida. So that's what's up.
Everyone stand up right now. Just kidding, just kidding. I'll tell you right now, I love Thomas Redman because anyone who goes on the streets 30 days to try to raise awareness, I just appreciate his heart, his passion. I appreciate